Welcome, music lovers, to a journey back in time to the vibrant 1960s, a decade characterized by its pulsating energy, groundbreaking societal changes, and above all, its strikingly diverse soundtrack. Picture this: the swinging 60s, an era of revolution and reinvention, where music wasn't just a pastime, but a lifestyle, a statement, a movement. From the shores of Britain to the heartland of America, the 60s were a melting pot of sounds and styles. The decade saw the rise of iconic bands, the birth of new genres, and the transformation of pop culture as we know it. Rock and roll, soul, folk, pop, and psychedelic music, the 60s had it all. The music scene of the 60s was an echo of the times, reflecting the spirit of freedom, rebellion, and experimentation that defined the era. So, are you ready to dive into the vibrant world of the 60s? Fasten your seatbelts as we embark on this musical time machine. Our first stop takes us across the pond to the British invasion. As the 60s rolled on, the world experienced a seismic shift in the global music scene, thanks to the influx of British bands that stormed the international stages with their fresh, unique sound. The British invasion, as it was aptly named, was more than just a trend. It was a cultural phenomenon that swept across continents, altering the course of music history. This musical movement was not just a British export, but a revolution that challenged the norms and transformed the soundscape. At the forefront of this invasion were bands that have since become synonymous with the era. The Beatles, of course, are the first that come to mind. Their innovative style and captivating performances took the world by storm, and their influence can still be felt in music today. Then there was the Rolling Stones, with their edgy, rebellious rock and roll that became the anthem of a generation. The Who, with their explosive performances and anthems of teen angst, were yet another band that embodied the spirit of the British invasion. But it wasn't just about the big names. Bands like the Kinks and the Animals also left their mark with their unique blend of rock and rhythm and blues. Their sounds resonated with fans worldwide, contributing to the rich tapestry of the British invasion. This British wave didn't just conquer the charts, it also left a lasting impact on the global music scene. It challenged the dominance of American music, introduced new styles and sounds, and led to a cultural exchange that enriched the music industry. It paved the way for future genres, from punk rock to Britpop, proving that the influence of the British invasion extends far beyond the 60s. The British invasion was more than just a moment in music history. It was a movement that reshaped the global music scene, setting the stage for the diverse sounds we enjoy today. The British invasion left an indelible mark on the music scene, paving the way for future genres. Next, we dive into the smooth and passionate world of soul music. As the 60s rolled in, a fresh, vibrant, and deeply emotional sound began to resonate from the airwaves. This was the birth of soul music, a genre that was about to take the music industry by storm. Rooted in gospel and rhythm and blues, soul music was more than just a new style. It was a powerful expression of emotion, a musical embodiment of the human spirit. In the early days, soul music was an underground phenomenon, a soundtrack for the African American community. But as the decade progressed, soul music broke through the barriers of race and class, captivating audiences around the world. Artists like Aretha Franklin, Otis Redding, and James Brown became household names, their voices echoing in living rooms and concert halls alike. Their music was raw and real, a stark contrast to the polished pop tunes that dominated the charts. Each note was a testament to their struggles and triumphs, their hopes and dreams. Soul music was not just about the melody and the rhythm, it was about the story behind each song, the message in every lyric. The impact of soul music on the music industry was profound. It brought a new level of emotional depth to popular music, challenging artists and listeners alike to dig deeper, to feel more. It also paved the way for the rise of other genres, from funk to disco to hip-hop. But perhaps the most significant legacy of soul music is its cultural significance. It was a voice for the voiceless, a platform for expressing the joys and sorrows, the aspirations and frustrations of the African American community. It was a powerful tool for social change, a musical testament to the civil rights movement. Soul music touched hearts and minds, and its influence is still felt today. From the smooth grooves of Motown to the raw emotion of Southern soul, this genre has left an indelible mark on the world of music. And while the sound may have evolved, the essence of soul music remains the same. A celebration of the human spirit in all its beauty and complexity. Now let's shift gears and enter the colorful world of psychedelic rock. In the middle of the swinging 60s, there was a seismic shift in the music industry. Psychedelic rock emerged as a vibrant, boundary-pushing genre that would go on to change the course of music history. As a genre, it was like nothing anyone had heard before. It was a sonic explosion of creativity characterized by its experimental sounds, extended solos, and lyrics exploring heightened states of consciousness. The epicenter of this movement was the Haight-Ashbury district in San Francisco. Bands like the Grateful Dead, Jefferson Airplane, and the Jimi Hendrix Experience were pioneering a new sound that was as radical and transformative as the cultural revolution happening around them. Their music was a reflection of the times, an era of exploration, experimentation, and pushing against the status quo. Psychedelic rock wasn't just about creating new sounds, though. It was also about challenging societal norms and questioning traditional values. Lyrics often delved deep into themes of existentialism, spirituality, and the human condition. It pushed listeners to think, to question, to dream. And its influence didn't stop at the music. Psychedelic rock helped shape the visual aesthetics of the 60s, with its vibrant colors, swirling patterns, and surreal imagery becoming synonymous with the counterculture movement. It was a genre that was as much about the experience as it was about the music. But perhaps one of the most significant impacts of psychedelic rock was its influence on future music genres. It paved the way for progressive rock, heavy metal, and even punk. It challenged musicians to push the boundaries of what was possible, to experiment with new sounds and ideas. Psychedelic rock was a musical revolution, a genre that dared to be different, that dared to question, that dared to dream. It was a genre that reflected the spirit of a generation that was determined to make their mark on the world and change it for the better. Psychedelic rock opened doors to new musical possibilities, expanding the boundaries of what music could be. As we near the end of our journey, we tune into the powerful voice of folk music and protest songs. A genre rooted in the tradition of storytelling, folk music evolved into a potent force in the 60s, becoming the soundtrack for a generation seeking to challenge the status quo. The rise of folk music in the 60s was no coincidence. It was a response to the times, a reflection of the social and political climate. The world was in flux, with the civil rights movement, anti-war protests, and cultural revolutions taking place. Folk musicians became the voice of these movements, using their songs to express dissent, demand change, and rally people together. Artists like Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, and Pete Seeger became synonymous with this era of protest music. Their songs were more than just melodies. They were messages, powerful declarations of peace, freedom, and justice. Bob Dylan's "Blowin' in the Wind" and "The Times They Are A-Changin' became anthems for change, resonating with those who believed in a better world. But it wasn't just the big names that made a mark. Countless local musicians, inspired by the spirit of the times, picked up their guitars and wrote their own protest songs. These songs, sung in coffee houses, at rallies, and around campfires, echoed across the nation, stirring hearts and minds. The impact of folk music and protest songs of the 60s can still be felt today. The genre continues to inspire artists, and its themes of social justice and political activism remain relevant. It's a testament to the power of music and how it can be a vehicle for change. Folk music and protest songs gave a voice to the voiceless, shaping the music and culture of the era. As we reflect on the 60s, we're reminded of the enduring power of song and the role it can play in shaping our world. As we conclude our journey, let's reflect on the enduring legacy of 60s music. This era was a rich tapestry of sounds, styles, and cultural shifts that still echo in the music we listen to today. The British invasion brought us iconic bands that redefined rock and roll. The birth of soul gave us emotive, powerful voices that continue to inspire. Psychedelic rock, with its experimental boundary-pushing sounds, paved the way for the countless subgenres we see now. And let's not forget the folk music and protest songs, the raw, honest anthems that reflected the social and political landscapes of the time. These songs were not just music, they were the voices of change, the soundtracks to a revolution. They've left an indelible mark on the world, influencing generations of musicians and music lovers alike. And there we have it, a glimpse into the music of the 60s, a decade that truly revolutionized the world of music.